Bobbie have speed anytime you're ready to go.
All right. Are you ready, Leonard?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Leonard, we meet once again.
Yes, hello.
And it's lovely to see you. And first of all, congratulations. I think you've got the hit of the season, really.
Thank you.
Yes, tremendous reaction and response to it. This was supposed to come out, though, earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was originally planned for this last summer, but there was a management change at Paramount just after we started putting this project together. And three key players left. Barry Diller went to Fox, and Michael Eisner and Jeff Katzenberg went to Disney. It took a while for the new management to get into place, Frank Mancuso and Ned Tanner and Don Steele, and while they were getting into place, we were kind of marking time. We lost 2 or 3 months. As it turned out, I think it was better for us for a number of reasons. It gave me more time to digest the ideas that we needed to put together to get the script going. And it gave us more time to ferment the ideas, to let them grow and let them fall into place in a healthy kind of way. So I'm very happy about the way it's worked out.
People are going to see pictures, and I must confess, I had the same thought. You in the headband and the robe.
Yeah.
Now, what can you tell people? Why did you come to that decision and not some other attire?
Well, you have to understand, we have to tell our audience that we in this movie, we come back to the 20th century. We come back to now in San Francisco. And this was the question I had to deal with. We had this strange variety of clothes that we were all wearing at the end of Star Trek III. This picture, although I think it's a self-contained movie that anybody can enjoy, does pick up some threads, if you pardon the expression, from the end of Star Trek III and ties them up. So the question was, should we all be wearing these same clothes that we were wearing at the end of Star Trek III, or should we get ourselves new clothes somehow because we're coming back to the 20th century? And I thought I thought it would be more fun, frankly, to just wear what we were wearing, step off the ship and step right out into the streets of San Francisco. And as strange as the clothes may be, today, 1986 San Francisco, I think they're acceptable. I don't think anybody would really turn their heads and pay. I'm wearing this white robe, and there were people who thought I was a monk or a priest or something. That's fine, you know. And the headband, of course, I was wearing to cover my pointed ears.
In any sense at all, was this one more difficult than the others to
Sure.
make?
Oh, yeah, sure. More difficult for me. In Star Trek III, I was really on my feet acting in only one scene. So directing Star Trek III was the major job. I didn't really have 2 major jobs to do. And I'm in this picture much more. Spock is in the film much more. Had to be. I wanted him to be. I thought it was necessary. And so I'm really carrying 2 jobs. Physically, that's tough, particularly because the Spock makeup takes 2 hours. And that added 2 hours to my whatever length my day would have been otherwise. Also, it was tougher physically because we were outside a lot and moving about a lot, and that's tough, as opposed to being contained on the sound stages at the studio where everything is very comfortable and very controllable. On the other hand, I think this picture has a lot more energy and a lot more fun than we've had in the past, and I think you can feel that. We had a good time making it.
Leonard, those of us who have followed Star Trek from the beginning, and of course you were in the first pilot, that was, of course, before man walked on the moon.
Yeah.
And I wonder what kinds of thoughts you have about starting that project, and it was all so new and different, and where the world is today.
Well, I was very comfortable with it because I was kind of attuned to science fiction. I was never a real science fiction buff, but I understood and enjoyed science fiction. I worked in science fiction long before Star Trek. The very first science fiction I was ever in was in 1950 or 51, which was 15 years before we started making Star Trek. But when we made the Star Trek series in 66, 67, 68, I think for some people we were ahead of our time. They weren't quite ready to accept the idea of people traveling in space, working in space, living that kind of life in that kind of environment. After, excuse me, after we were off the air in prime time, when we finished the show in 1968, 1969, there was a man walking on the moon, standing on the moon. You could walk out of your house and look up there and say, there's a man standing there. And I think that changed the focus for us. I think that changed the way people perceived us. And the space program became very, very real for people. And they started to really believe that people could go out in ships into space and do a job and come back. And that's what Star Trek is all about. That's what we do.
And you must have felt even closer to all of that than
sure.
some of us.
Oh, sure, very close
A
to it.
real part of history.
Very close to it. When the first space shuttle was rolled out several years ago, the one that was going to be used for test landings, and was rolled out here at Edwards Air Force Base, it was called the Enterprise, and it was named after our ship, the Enterprise. And the day they rolled it out, NASA invited us all to be there, which we were. The Air Force band was playing as that thing came out of the hangar, and they were playing the theme from Star Trek.
What a thrill.
Yeah.
What a thrill. Well, it's always a thrill to see you, Leonard.
My pleasure.
And if we don't meet in the meanwhile, I'll see you during Star Trek V, okay?
Great. Okay. Thank
Nice
you
to
so
see you.
much.
Are you just